Chill Wills. And what a gala evening here at the Roxy Theater in New York City. We're premiering a wonderful, wonderful picture here tonight. Warner Brothers are proud and pleased to present Mr. George Stevens' great production of Giant. Yes, I said it, Giant. Giant, taken from Miss Edna Ferber's great literary mind. We're having a grand occasion here tonight. We're going to introduce you to some wonderful people, some wonderful movie stars, celebrities from the cinema and the stage, and some dignitaries locally and nationally. We're having a wonderful time, and this is my expression of rolling out a red carpet to you and yours to come down and see Giant doing its run at the Roxy Theater here in New York City. Getting back to Giant, Mr. Stevens, he made the picture. You remember pictures he's made in the past, the wonderful achievement and what Look magazine said was the greatest picture of all time, A Place in the Sun, Jayne, and now tonight, Giant. And Mr. Stevens has a wonderful cast. He and his co-producer, Mr. Henry Ginsberg. For instance, I don't think you'll ever forget Rock Hudson, as he portrays Big Benedict. And Miss Elizabeth Taylor is Leslie Linton. The powerful James Dean is Jet Rink. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to turn this over. I could stand here and talk all night and tell you wonderful things about Giant, but I'd like to turn this back over to my friends at Dumont, where you're going to see and you're going to hear from Giant, from Dumont. And so as I point the little pinky and give the direct cue, take it, cousin.
The time has come for Giant. Warner Brothers present George Stevens' production of Giant from the novel by Edna Ferber, starring Elizabeth Taylor as Leslie Linton, Rock Hudson as Vic Benedict, James Dean as Jet Rink, and presenting Carol Baker. Also starring Jane Withers, Chill Wills, Mercedes McCambridge, Dennis Hopper, Sal Mineo. A picture of proud people, a love story, a cavalcade, a conflict of creeds, a personal drama of strong longings, a big story of big things and big feelings. This is Giant.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in front of the Roxy Theater. This is the gala premiere of Giant, Mr. George Stevens' production. I'm your host for tonight, and we have a hostess. Mr. Stevens has selected a young lady who needs no introduction by the bub in the television set. She stars in her own show. She's here tonight, and as these tired old Texas eyes look over left of camera, I see the quintessence of feminine loveliness. Here is Miss Jayne Meadows. Thank you, good girl.
Thank you, Chill.
Thank
You're
you, dear
a darling.
Thank you.
I listened to what you said about Rock Hudson being in the picture, and Elizabeth Taylor and James Dean, but you didn't mention the fact that you are in the picture.
Well, thank you, cousin.
And you know, since I've known you, Chill, I've wanted to find out one important thing, how anybody with your warmth and personality got such a first name as Chill.
Well, it got out of Texas somewhere, and we put it on the marquee once or twice. Jane, I think we have a host of wonderful people to introduce, and I think we better start the red carpet rolling out, and somebody's going to show us a sign later on, and we're going to get the show on the road, dear.
Chill, by the sound of that audience, this sounds more like a Hollywood premiere.
Look
but
at them way over there.
There's thousands of people all up and down Broadway.
When Hudson got out of that car, I thought Broadway was going to come unglued tonight.
Even the horses,
Happy show, Vic.
This is the world premiere of the great new picture, which probably will turn out to be the biggest picture of the year, George Stevens' Giant. And it's doubly exciting tonight because it's a benefit for the very worthy charity, Muscular Dystrophy. And tonight I have a great honor in introducing to you two wonderful people who have done work for Muscular Dystrophy. Mr. Galway, who is the director of Muscular Dystrophy, and Miss Louise Yunt, who is one of the original founders of the organization and is also a vice president of Muscular Dystrophy. Mr. Galway?
Galway. Galway. Mr. Galway will be here.
Mr. Galway and Miss Yunt will be here in
just utter
a few
confusion.
moments.
But while Mr. Galway comes back and talks about that wonderful MD and the alleviation of the suffering of people, Miss Meadows, I'd like to present to you the gentleman who I think is one of the greatest directors and certainly one of the finest men, the performers out Hollywood way, the creator of Giant, and he's wonderful here tonight. And here is Mr. George Stevens.
How do you do?
Jane,
Such an honor to meet you, Mr.
Great
Stevens.
to see you, Miss Meadows. My son and associate, George
Well,
Stevens.
how do you do? How nice to meet you.
My cousin, so.
Hi, George.
Would you step in here, Mr.
Right here.
Stevens,
Thank
and
you.
the other
I'll
Mr.
step
Stevens
in
on this
here.
side of me
Thank
so we
you.
can all see you?
You know, those kind things
George.
that you heard just now are being said by a relative of mine. My cousin, Jill
Well,
Wells.
I want to tell you, Mr. Stevens, that Chill told me the other day what I think is one of the nicest things that can be said about a great talent like you, because everybody who has seen your pictures knows that you are one of the greatest directors. But Chill told me, and being an actress, I could appreciate this. He said, Jane, George Stevens is the sweetest director in the world, and if you have anything at all, he will get it out of you, and then some.
Well, that's just one old horse wrangler sticking up for another.
I don't
Thank
believe
you,
it.
Jill.
Thank you, George.
I've seen your
Happy
pictures.
show, sir.
Thank you.
So nice to have
Thank
seen you.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you, Mr. Stevens.
Happy show,
Congratulations.
Now we'll call on the
Is Mr. Galway?
Galway.
Mr. Galway?
Redmond.
So nice to meet you. Miss you.
Could
How
we
do
get
you
you
do?
folks
So
right
nice
over
to
here and
meet you.
kind of step
Could
in?
you step in here?
I know we're on a tight little island here tonight, and the cameras are working wonderfully well. And there you are. Now, Miss Meadows.
Mr. Galway, I've heard about the wonderful work that you've done. And Miss Yunt, I understand you're one of the original founders of muscular dystrophy. Is that true?
And I'd like to say this is Mr. Redmond of the International Association of Firefighters.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, it's nice.
He was
Nice
ill
to
this evening.
Of course, we've been instrumental in conducting a nationwide drive for muscular dystrophy at the Firefighters of America.
Yes.
And through our efforts, of course, $4.5 million have been raised, and very many foundations, research foundations have been established. And I want to compliment Ms. Johnson on her ability in organizing this drive straight 3 years ago.
Just 3 years ago.
Thank you, sir.
I understand that still, believe it or not, there are millions of people all throughout the United States that really don't know anything about muscular dystrophy.
Well, we believe that through efforts such as this evening, a lot of folks are going to learn more about our very urgent problem. We thank you for being here, too, to help
I
us.
hope
We
so.
appreciate your
And I just wanted to mention that I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, that aside from the fact that every organization needs money, this year you are asking for volunteers to go out during Thanksgiving week and help the firefighters. Just give 2 hours of their time to raise money for this
This
organization.
is the most precious gift that people can give us, is their time.
This would be
So,
the finest
I mean,
Thanksgiving they
hopes
could
of the
give.
That's wonderful.
There's
Yes.
no cure at the present time, and we hope through our efforts that a cause and cure will be found.
I hope so. Well, thank you so much for coming
We hope
tonight.
to raise a lot of money on Giant for you tonight, sir. And you, dear lovely lady.
Thank you.
Thanks for
So
coming
nice to
down.
have seen you.
Hey,
Good night.
hey, Sugar.
Yes?
Here is a guy that's as big as Texas in Giant and such a performance, and he has his lovely lady with us here tonight. You see them off stage. Would you give them a nice introduction like you always
Must
do?
be only Rock Hudson. Hello, how are you? Nice to see you
Nice
again.
to see you again.
I want to meet your wife.
wife,
Hello.
Phyllis.
So nice to meet you,
How are
Phyllis.
you?
You want to
Hi,
step
Vic.
in here? All right. Thank you. Hi there,
Nice to see you
Jill.
again. Nice to see you.
Thank you. You know, I don't know whether Rock remembers it or not, Phyllis, but I think
Yes,
it was
he
one of
does.
your first movies we
Yes,
were in together,
yes,
The
certainly
Fat
was.
Man.
Yes,
Oh, and he's such a big star now.
Oh, no.
Jane, no,
I think
I'm
Jane's
going to
a
make
big
him
star.
blush again. He is simply wonderful in Giant.
Well, no, Jill
I want to
told
tell
me
you
that the other
something
day.
he does. Oh, that scene at the finish with Elizabeth and me where he sits down and in the midst of he's been beat up and his sandals slipped out from under him.
And I've been
Can't
told
beat
you, I
that.
think he's wonderful.
Have you seen the picture yet?
No, I haven't too. I've
Well,
been
then-
waiting, but I've seen bits of it.
You have a surprise in
waiting.
store for you, too.
tonight.
I hear you're just wonderful, Rock.
Well, I don't know, Jane.
They tell me you age in the picture. Is that
Yes.
true? How old do you get to be?
I don't know, about 60, anybody?
Something
Really?
Yeah. I don't call him Chill anymore. I call him Bobby, you know.
Well, Chill told me the other day, he said, this to me proves that Rock Hudson is really a great actor because he said, you are never aware of the fact that he's acting an old
That's
man.
because I
He
work
said
with people like Chill, you see.
You should see the tuxedo they made with all the padded junk and everything. He was, oh, you love this picture.
I'm sure I will. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you, Jane.
So nice to have seen you. I never heard such screams in my life as when you got out of the car tonight.
Bye, Jane.
Nice to have met
Good
you.
show, Ron.
Thank you, Chill.
Good show, Mrs. Hudson.
Thank you.
And now
Wow,
we
he
have
is something.
a
isn't
next
he?
one here. We have a little tyke in a chair here. It's something to do with what we're trying to raise money for tonight. This lady who is standing here, I think we'll bring the young fella, and will you introduce him,
We
Jayne?
all
Jayne,
know
please.
this wonderful person who's coming up now. She has the biggest heart in this country, Miss Virginia Graham.
Thank
Hello,
you.
Virginia.
So nice to see you, Jane. And, you know, I think
Have you met Mr. Wills?
we met
Graham?
professionally yesterday.
Nice to see you again.
How did you like your television debut?
Wonderful. I love it.
You know, Jane, I think after tonight everybody will be Giant fans because this is one of the most stupendous undertakings I understand that has ever been viewed. But if I may just say that the giant that MD has to lick is the difference between little Murray Glenn Schechter and myself. To him, I look like a giant because I'm standing up and I'm able to walk and move. And MD, which calls for muscular development, is something that he prays for. Glenn is a very good friend of Vivian Della Chiesa, who was supposed to bring him tonight, and she's sick at home. Glenn, would you like to wave to Vivian, dear? Will you wave to Vivian? And may I just say this to you, darling, that your name as one of the helpers for MD will mean so much to the whole world because you and Steve are such agents of good that we're all very proud of you.
Yeah.
So thank you very, very much for having us here tonight. And as I say, Glenn is our star.
Murray, lots of good luck, son. In my merry Oldsmobile.
Virginia Graham does more good work, I think, than any single person in show business.
Hey, I have the pleasure of introducing my boss at this time, one of the great world showmen. Here's Colonel Jack L. Warner, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Sarah. Nice to have you on
Good
board.
evening,
Hello,
Mr.
dear.
Warner.
Glad to see you. When I get this on television, my wife is watching.
Hello. I want to get my cuffs out to prove that I'm not wearing a dickie.
You must be very excited tonight.
Well, Nana, I am not too excited because this has been going on for quite a few years, but however, I'm overwhelmed and I'm very happy, chiefly because the film written by Edna Ferber, her famous novel, produced and directed by George Stevens and co-produced by Henry Ginsberg. All the wonderful people in it, especially Chill.
Thank you, sir.
He plays Uncle Brawley, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Uncle Baldy. He didn't know the name of it either. And Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson, and of course James Dean, and the wonderful cast that's in the picture. I'm sure that it's an unusual film.
It's probably one of the greatest all-star casts, too, of any picture ever made. I understand you have Jane Withers in the picture. There's
That's right.
Mercedes McCambridge.
Yes, and there's
Endless names.
There's also a horse.
Oh, really?
Yes. Warwind's his name. I remember
right.
that.
Mr. Warner, I
seriously,
wanted-
pardon me, what is your name?
Jane Meadows.
Oh, I know you now. I knew you when you were Small Field.
Oh.
Yes. Anyway, good luck and thanks very much for having me here. And I hope that all of New York as well as the world comes and see the Giant because they're in for a very wonderful entertainment, an unusual film.
I'm
Thank you.
sure.
Now I
And
know
thank
who you
you.
are. I'll remember you.
Thank you so much for turning this over to muscular dystrophy
Oh,
tonight.
yes. So it's indeed a pleasure and an honor. So
Happy show, boss.
Good. Glad to see you. I hope you'll be with us often. Be with us often.
Thank you, sir.
Jill,
Thank you.
standing right behind you, I see Mercedes McCambridge.
Oh, she's here. She's a great.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you.
She does Loves Benedict in the show and all. She's going out of the window with an Oscar.
You are one of the reasons why I want to see this picture. This girl is never anything but superb.
Oh, careful now. You may be
No,
sorry.
really, I remember you from the first picture you made when you won the Academy Award. Really a wonderful actress. So nice to see you.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Mercy. Happy show, darling.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we have a fine man that runs this theater, a great showman. Here's Mr. Bob Rothwell here. Janie?
Hello, Jane.
Well, this is probably the most exciting night you've ever had at the Roxy, isn't it?
It's one of them.
I've never seen so many crowds all up and down Broadway.
Very delighted to welcome George Stevens and the Giant, Jack L. Warner, and all the wonderful people.
I'm sure this is going to be the biggest premiere of the season.
Certainly think it is.
Cousin Robert,
Say something.
happy show. Listen to that box office tinkle on Giant. It'll make you happy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me down to the National
Thank
Theater's convention. It was nice to say hello to all the managers and all the brass in your outfit.
It was a rich sort and played right over.
It was wonderful, Bobby.
Goodbye, nice
Here,
to see you.
here's the charmingest charmer in the world, Miss Natalie Wood, ladies
I
and
saw
gentlemen.
this young lady on television last night on the Kaiser Aluminum Hour. You gave a beautiful performance.
Oh, thank you.
Very, very moving. I'm so glad to meet you.
Mr. Henry Wilson off side.
Hello, how are you, Henry? Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Haven't seen you in years.
I know.
Hi, Nat.
I didn't know that
Oh,
you
yes,
were Mr.
you.
Steve Allen for today.
Oh, yes, I have been. This is my third year.
Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's get off and let the giant stars come on.
Happy show, Natalie.
Nice to see you, Henry.
Happy show.
Goodbye. Henry Wilson is Rock
here's one of
Hudson's
the new
manager.
stars that Mr. Stevens has introduced in Jayne. A lovely lady, a little Texas girl that comes up like thunder in Jayne. Miss Fran Bennett. Say hello to
How
her,
do you
darling.
do? So nice to see you, Fran.
Hello to Jayne Meadows. Hello, Jayne.
Do you have a Texas accent? Do I detect?
I guess I do.
Or is that left over from the picture?
Well, I'd like to. Well, I'm from Texas.
I thought so.
Yes.
How are you, Jane?
Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Bob. Well, I guess you're very excited. Is this your first picture, or?
Well, actually, it's my first, big part.
Oh.
Not big, but there.
Franny, we're
big
pushing.
picture.
Yeah.
We're pushing. We got to pull the ripcord and bail out. We
So
have
nice
so many.
to have seen you.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Thank you, darling. Happy show. Happy show. Here's a gentleman. You know this
Yes,
gentleman
I
on your right-hand
certainly
side.
do. How nice to see you again.
Mrs. Allen, how are you?
Very nice to see you.
See you. What is that? Are we on television now?
You are on television right here. Won't you get in the center so they can get a good look at you?
Behind you.
A gentleman.
How happy I am
Mr.
to
Monty.
be here to help the muscular dystrophy and to show you this magnificent ticket. This is the ticket, symbolic of the greatness of the picture. Thank you very much. I know that if George Stevens made it, it's got to be big.
Thank you, doll.
Pleasure.
Nice to see you.
Regards to
again.
Mrs. And now, here, ladies and gentlemen. Here's, you know these people, Janie?
Yes, hello, Miss
Hi,
Virginia
darling.
Mayo.
And here,
And her. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see
Mike.
you.
Michael Shea,
One
Jane
of my
Meadows.
favorite actors.
Hello,
How are
darling.
you? Nice to see you. You leaving? You want to
No,
step
I'm
right in
staying
there?
right by you, as close as I can get.
This on and this on?
Yes, they're both on.
Yes.
We have to say something then.
Would you like to say something? If you don't want to, you don't have to.
You look so beautiful. You have that befont hairdo.
I do, but I
How
see
do
you
you-
have a crown on too. Put your
Isn't
head
that
down a little
awful?
bit. Oh my, that's a pretty one. Much prettier than mine. I have watched your husband for some time on television. I just love that show.
Darling.
Very funny.
You like those cattle scenes in Giant tonight, too?
Yeah, man.
Mike, nice to have you and your lovely missus on tonight with us.
Well, it's
Happy-
a pleasure, you know that.
Will you be
I'm
staying in New York for a while?
No, we're leaving Saturday.
Oh.
Well, that's a while. We're here till
Yeah, we're
Saturday.
here a while.
Well, it's nice to have you for a short time anyway.
Yes.
How's Steve?
He's just fine.
Good.
He's working so hard. He's doing even an extra show now, with his Sunday show.
Oh.
I know
don't know
you're
how he
fans
does
of
it.
his because I've seen you on his program when they've had the premieres
We
from Hollywood.
just adore Steve. He's wonderful.
Well, I do
Well,
too.
everybody knows he is. We don't have to say so.
Well, it's so nice to have seen you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Nice seeing
Thank
you,
you, Mrs.
too.
O'Shea. Mike,
Hey, cuz.
happy holiday here.
And there I see is one of my favorite actresses.
Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she wonderful?
Jayne Withers.
Hello,
Hello.
Jayne.
You know I've been looking forward to meeting you.
Well, I've been looking forward to meeting you. I've been a fan of yours
This
for a
is
long
Janie's
time.
hubby
You
here.
have. I've been a
Miss
fan
Meadows.
of yours longer than you've been a fan of
thank you.
mine.
This is
Hello.
my husband,
Hi.
Penny Rare.
How nice to see you. You know that when Audrey and I were little girls, and you were just a little girl, we used to go see all the Shirley Temple movies for Jayne Withers. You were the one that we loved.
And Jane has returned to films, and she certainly comes in there bombastic.
I hear
You know,
you're
she
just
plays the
insane.
character called Vashti.
Oh!
Thank you, Uncle Bob.
I hear you're just wonderful in the picture.
Well, it was an awful lot of fun doing it. Of course, working with George Stevens was about the biggest thrill I've ever had in my whole life.
I'm sure it must have
I
been.
really enjoyed it.
Well, it's so nice to meet you. I've
Thank
looked
you,
forward to
Janie.
this for a long time.
Thank you
Nice
very
to
much.
see you, too.
Give our love to Steve.
I
Thank you,
shall.
Janie.
Good
Thank
night.
you, Janie. Happy show, darling. Here's the great man of music, Mr. Dimitri Tiomkin.
Oh, how nice to see you. You are so wonderful.
Thank you.
And you gave the cutest speech. Was it last year at the Academy Awards? I think it's the funniest, probably the biggest laugh that's ever been heard.
Thank you. And I like to say that it's my accent. I work on lots of Western pictures, but really I never knew such a pleasure and love to work on a picture called Giant, especially to chill view.
He's got the greatest score in this show. It's the prettiest music.
I'm sure. I've heard the Giant theme,
Thank you very much.
and it's lovely.
That's the gentleman who inspired me.
Bless Demi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Isn't he
Good
wonderful?
night. Nice to have met you.
Hey, here's a young star, another young star, Janie. I want you to meet him.
Oh, I
He's
saw him
wonderful.
last night, too. He's
Mr.
a
Dennis
wonderful
Hopper.
actor. I saw you last night, too, on the Kaiser Aluminum Hour.
Oh, thank you.
You are a very, very fine actor.
Thank you very much.
And one reason why I'm looking forward to seeing the movie is they announced at the end of This Is Your Wife.
No, it's not my
Oh.
wife. Joanne
Hello,
Woodward.
how are you? I'm Jayne Meadows. I was just telling Dennis that I saw him last night playing opposite Natalie Wood, and I think it's one of the finest shows I've seen in a long time. But they didn't give the credit at the end. Who directed it?
George Roy Hill.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Very, very finely directed.
Yes, it is. It was.
And you are a wonderful actor.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hey, would you,
Hi.
Hi.
We're going in to see the picture.
Good. Hope you like it.
Happy show, Jenny.
Good night. Nice to
Here's a
see
young
you.
lady I think you'll see draped on the marquees of the theaters all over the world. Such a fine actress and such a performance. It's Les Benedict Jr. Miss Carol Baker.
Thank you
Hello,
so much,
Carol.
Jill. Hello.
I'm so glad to meet you.
And this is my husband, Jack Garfield.
How do you do? I have seen so many pictures of your wife, not from Giant, but from Baby Doll.
Oh,
Aren't you
yes.
in Baby Doll?
Have you seen the biggest one of all?
Which one is
Down
that?
on 46th
No, but I've heard
Street,
about it.
47th Street.
I
It's
saw,
incredible.
but I saw a wonderful picture of you where you're flying in a room. It looks like you're going into a barn.
Oh,
Are
yes.
you?
Yes,
And I said to my husband, Steve, that girl has the most fantastic face. Not only is it beautiful, but very expressive.
Oh, thank you so
I'm
much.
sure you're going to be a very big star.
Oh, thank you. You know, this was my first movie, Giant, and it's my first opening night, and
Aren't
we're
you
just
excited?
terribly excited
Of
about it.
course
Oh,
you
yes.
must be. Well, I hear that Elia Kazan says that you're going to be a great star. So with Elia Kazan and George Stevens, you will be, I'm
Well,
sure.
I think I certainly did work with two of the finest directors.
I'm
in the
sure you did. I'm very envious of you.
Yes.
It's nice to
Yeah.
have met
Thank
you,
you.
and nice to have met you too. Good night.
Carol, you're wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Happy show, darling. Happy show.
Eileen? I see Eileen Heckert there. Hello. You're not in Giant, are you?
No.
Everybody
But
else
it's an
is.
evening, huh?
Oh, it's so
Jane,
nice
I'd like
to
to
see
have you
you.
know my husband, Jack Yankee.
How do you do? Nice to see you. I haven't seen your wife yet in the movie, Bad Seed, but I saw her in the play, and she absolutely fractured me.
Oh, aren't you nice?
What an actress.
What an opening tonight's going to be, huh?
Yeah.
Good to
I'm
see
looking
you.
forward to seeing you. So nice to see you. Nice to have met you, too. Good night, Eileen.
You love Giant, Miss Heckert?
You bet.
Hey, here's a guy. You've heard him so much sing in such a... Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening. Glad to see you, sir.
Glad
to see you.
Nice to see you.
Pleasure to
So
see
nice
you.
to meet you.
I'm the president of the Muscular Dystrophy Association of America, and you know it's through the generosity of the American public that we've conquered diseases like polio, and we're very hopeful that with the help of nice people like you and also of the great American public, they will help us, and we will raise enough funds to get the research done to conquer this disease.
I hope so.
And God bless you and all the American people who help us in this wonderful work so that crippled children will walk again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
nice
Hope
to
you
have
like
seen you.
Giant. We hope to raise you lots of money, don't we, Jenny?
Yes, we certainly do.
Sure
Good luck
will.
to you.
Thank you
Good
very
night.
much.
Thank you for coming. Well, hello, Judy Tyler. Hello, how are you? Won't you come in? And Jane Keene. Do you know Mr. Chilwell?
Hi, Judy.
How do you
Hi,
do?
sugar.
Hello,
Hello,
Tyler.
Jill.
Jane
How are
Keene.
you?
Hello, darling.
Nice.
How are you? You look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you, aren't you?
You look so beautiful. You
Yeah.
and your black, me with my silver. You and your gold.
I wish we had colors to describe these real pretty gowns these
Why
ladies
don't
are
you
having
step
on
in here
tonight.
so that the
All right, thank you.
television audience can really see how beautiful you girls
Oh, they look
Thank
wonderful.
you. Black and white. How have you been?
Nothing like a pretty girl, nothing like a pretty...
Jane is
I've
in
been wonderful.
Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter, so
Oh,
this is
isn't
an
that wonderful?
appropriate night for you, isn't
I
it?
know her and her sissy quite some time ago.
I know it.
Nice
Nice
to see you again. Nice to have you on our show.
Thank
We hope
you.
you'll have a happy show with Giant. I think you'll like it.
Thank you. I know I'm going to.
Thanks for coming down for MD.
Thank
So
you.
nice to see you. I shall. Good night.
A great man from Chicago, a great newspaper man, a fine man for our industry.
Hi.
Mr.
Mr.
Steve,
Steve, how are you,
you?
Dow?
Nice
Good to
to
see you.
You going to be in New York for long? Hello, how are you? Nice to see you.
Now that the Brooklyns have lost and the Giant is about to be over, we're going back to Chicago.
Well, I wish we could see you while you were here. Steve and I would love to see you both. Your husband's always flying in and out in such a hurry, or we're on our way
Flying
through.
with me.
Never get a chance to send him but alive.
Love your hair like that.
Thank you. Aren't you sweet?
We keep track of you and Steve on television.
We
know
keep
what
track of
do
you.
all the time.
We read all your words.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Great evening with the Giant.
I'm sure it will be. I hear it's just a great picture. Nice to see you. Good night. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Good luck. Chicago.
Abe Burrows. Hi, Abe. How are
Abe
you?
Burrows.
Nice to see you.
Mr. Fernando Lamas.
Hello. How are you?
See you.
Nice to see you. I read something in the paper the other day that said they were sure that Fernando Lamas would be the new heartthrob of Broadway as soon as Ethel
my
Merman's
God.
show opens.
Well, that is going to be thanks to Abe Burrows, our director.
How are you, Abe? Nice
Good,
to see
Jane.
you.
How are you, dear?
Just hi.
I think it's going to be a very good show. We have a fabulous star, as you know.
I
Ethel
know.
Merman and fantastic writers, Lindsay and Krauss, Joe Melziner. I mean, the setup is, you know,
There's nothing but
invincible.
Feels good, really
You don't have a little part in there for me, do you? That isn't cast.
Well, we might
Well, how
throw
little
out
a part
some,
will you
A very big paw.
You come up with a good offer and we throw up somebody.
Good.
Okay.
Well, lots of luck to you.
Thank you
I'm
very
sure you'll
much.
have a big smash hit.
Wonderful to see you. Look as
Nice
lovely
to
as
see you.
ever.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane. Goodbye, dear.
Nice to see you, Abe.
Okay, well, thank you, Jim.
Abe, nice to see you.
Good to see you, Joe.
Bye.
Here is a very fine, gracious actress of our stage and a fine, fine person in television, Miss Ethel Waters. Come on, Ethel, come on over here.
I don't want to intrude
Come on,
so much.
come on, there is so much, but
And
we
now
have...
is the beautiful Mrs.
Oh, aren't you a
I see you all the time, and I hear you.
I see you on my husband's show, but I don't
Yes.
see you enough.
Well, now you're the
more.
wife. You do something about that.
Well, I'm not very good at booking the show.
Remember the last time
If I
we did the
was,
restaurant?
Sure, we
Hollywood.
did. That's right. And
Nice
I'm
to have you.
here with the guest of Mr. Mike Radio. So
How do you do? How are you?
Makes it
Nice to
possible
see
for us.
How are you tonight?
How are you?
No. Is there any more important than Miss
Oh,
Ethel Waters?
babe. Where's Audrey?
She's, she's been married for 2
I
months.
know.
So she's down with her husband, but I understand she's coming to the show Saturday
Oh,
night.
I saw that dramatic thing you did on it.
Joe.
Yes, ma'am.
Great fan of yours.
No, no,
coming from her. Isn't that
You know it's
wonderful?
true, and you've been doing a lot of summer stuff.
I have.
I know it.
Aren't you?
Ethel, we're
When
pushing.
you lay off, I'm a
We
perfect
better-
individual.
We're pushing, darling. Nice to have you on our show. I know you like
Very nice
John.
meeting you.
Nice to
Goodbye.
see
I
you.
know it.
Here's Miss McNellis now. Let's say hello to her.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you.
Would you join us over here?
Yeah, sure. I love your hair, may I say that? Well, aren't you sweet, and I love yours.
Thank you. You know, the new bouffant, the marvelous look, is really right there, Miss Meadows.
It certainly is. I'm not quite as bouffanty as I was this afternoon.
Yes,
It
and
has a
once
way
you
of kind of
sleep on it,
blowing in
you're
the
gonna
wind out
lose it
here.
completely. You're all set for Giant?
Yes, ma'am, I think so.
I think it'll be great fun.
It's a good movie. I know you'll enjoy it.
I know I will too, and I may never go to Texas again, isn't that so?
I'll take you down there. Thank you. Nice to see you, ma'am. Now, I
Good night,
think
Maggie.
we're just about rolling around to the point to where we have to look around the crowd and talk about Giant and lots of things that are happening tonight. The world premiere at the Roxy Theater. I'll have to go back and tell my kids that I worked with the lovely Jayne Meadows here
I
in New
see
York
Bob
City.
Stack over there.
Bob Stack.
Come here,
Where's
Bob.
Bobby? Bobby,
Right here.
come here. Hello, Scattergun John.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you. Hello. I've seen you in a long
Gentleman, his
time.
lovely wife.
Nice
Wonderful to see you.
We're about to wind it up for Dumont. We're about to toss the hot lens back down there for
Isn't
some
it
more
exciting?
commercials.
I've never seen
And that
so
winds
much
up
on
Giant
New
tonight
York
at the
Premiere.
Roxy Theater. We've had a last time being with you, ladies and gentlemen. We hope we'll be back in the foreseeable future and hope you come to the Roxy to see Giant. Just like a sleeping giant.
Oh,
Walking in the sun. Bobby, it was just wonderful to see you. How long have you been here? You did? Yes, sir. Huh? We've got 30 seconds to chit-chat.
You've
And
got
we've got
about
to
30
tell you,
seconds to
we're
go
doing
in
this
and
for
see the
MD to help a lot of people that are less fortunate than I and Jane and you and Mrs. And we hope we raised a lot of money. Miss Meadows, will you take that 15 seconds?
Yes, I would love to take this 15 seconds to remind everybody that muscular dystrophy needs not only your money, but it needs volunteers on Thanksgiving week to give just 2 hours of your time to go around and collect funds for this wonderful, wonderful charity. And then come down and see Giant, the wonderful new George Stevens picture.
Been nice working with
Nice
you, Mrs.
working
Allen.
with you, Phil.
Shall we go see Giant?
I'm going to look forward to seeing you in the movie.
Thank you. Bye, Bobby.
Goodbye,
Bye,
nice
Bobby.
to see you.
There we go, out in the wild view yonder.